Evening, freaks. I'm here to give you a read straight from the hip with lots of lips, and I'm continuing on with that What's on Deck for Taurus in December reading series. And we are looking at Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, North Node, Mercury, Mars, or a loaded second house. So that would be like a stellium, 3 or more planets located in that second house, or even just a really significant placement in that second house can definitely have an effect, and you might find resonance with the message that comes through here. I encourage you to engage your intuition. Remember that it is a collective reading, so there's lots of different stories that will come in. Not every story will be speaking to you. It's not a personal reading, okay? But I think you'll find that if you just stay open and you stay connected to your own inner knowing, you'll be able to tune in to how the specific messages coming through are speaking to you. And of course, there's always those exceptions where sometimes an urgent message comes through and it's somebody's message out there and it might not apply to a lot of people, but it's important that somebody hears it. So when that comes up, just hold the space, okay? We're all collectively holding this space together when we drop in for a read. It's a creative space, and thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me, to drop in with me. I really do value all of the viewers of my channel, so I very much appreciate the support, and just want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. There's been a lot of new subscribers recently, and it's wonderful to have you here, and I look forward to building community, okay? Flip-flop roles as you need to, all right? Whether that applies to gender, or whether that applies to, what side you're on. Cross-watch your energy sometimes does come into a read. It gives you an opportunity to see things from the perspective of the other person. I felt really called to start with a Halloween oracle for you, Taurus, okay? We're just going to jump right in here. We're not going to waste any more time. And let's see what we got on the bottom of the deck. We got werewolf, exploring wildness. Okay, so I have a feeling something is really going to come through for you with this full moon that's coming up. We got a full moon coming up on the 7th, and it is in the sign of Gemini, okay? Gemini, the twins, okay? You might be dealing with a Gemini. There might be a twin piece that is coming through for you. You might feel like you're dealing with somebody where they really feel like your other half, There's something to this. Maybe you've connected with somebody who really wakes up the wild side in you. Maybe you're experiencing a side of yourself you've never experienced before. Something's awakening in you. Maybe there's something that you're feeling that you just can't hold inside any longer, and you just need to get it up and out, Might be really good for you to do some howling at the moon, something about that. Sometimes it feels really good to just get in touch with that sort of, feral nature and just let it out, connect with the elements in that way. You might want to do some kind of release ritual with this full moon. It might be good for you, something that brings about kind of a unification between you and a part of yourself you feel like you've been like severed from or disconnected from for quite a while. I chose the blue light because when I was initially tuning into your energy, I got this message of Blue Christmas, it'll be a blue Christmas without you, that song. And I think you're really missing somebody. This person is definitely on your mind. You wish you could see them. You wish you could talk to them. This time of year can be kind of difficult for you because it reminds you of the people that are no longer with you, whether those are people that have passed on or whether they're friends you've fallen out with, people you don't usually talk to anymore. There's something about you really missing the people that are absent from your life at this time. And I think that you're going to be getting some messages coming in from Spirit in regard to this from those who have passed on. I think you're going to find your dream life is going to be a lot more active. There's going to be all kinds of like messages coming in through your dreams, and that's going to reveal a lot to you. I also feel like there's something to be aware of at the midnight hours specifically. I feel like something is going to happen at midnight that's going to give you a sign that your loved ones who have passed on are around you, all right? So whenever you hear this reading, pay attention to what happens at midnight, and just see. And, if you can't stay up till midnight, you might find, something wakes you one of these nights at midnight, or, you gotta go do a bathroom run, something like that, and you have an experience or something comes through, or maybe you have a dream and you wake up, at midnight and you make the connection. There's some piece here, there's some information coming through for you. Okay, so let's see, we do have some cards on the board here. Let's have a look at what's going on. I do see that you're really getting in touch with your intuition. Really getting in touch with your intuition. And I think it's because you realize how much you've kind of been trying to keep everything in control, all right? We see scrying here. Some of you may actually be working with scrying. You may find that you like to gaze into a crystal ball if you have one. Some of you are thinking about investing in a crystal ball. You recently saw one in a metaphysical shop that you went in and you just can't stop thinking about it. I think you've been thinking of treating yourself for the holidays or maybe putting it on your wish list, but some of you are really wanting a crystal ball, and this is something that's coming in for you. But I do feel like others of you are doing scrying, and some of you, this is funny, some of you have kind of an offhand way of doing it. Like some of you actually do your scrying in your morning cup of coffee, Maybe you like to take your coffee black and you just gaze into that black brew and you get your intuitive messages coming through. There's something about this, about opening up your inner vision and expanding on it more by working with scrying, whether you use a scrying mirror, and that's just a mirror that has like a black surface, or whether you use a crystal ball, or even water, water really coming through, water being a big conduit of energy as well. So there might be something to this, like going and just gazing at a body of water, and this also gives you intuitive messages. I'm getting like that rune coming through. Is it Ingus? I think Ingus, that's all about coming into the feminine energy, and that applies whether you're masculine or not. Feminine is just the receptive side. It's the side that can feel, that can sense. It is the intuitive side. And Lagus, I believe that's the name of it. I will double check. It's either Lagus or Ingus. I think it's Lagus though. I could be wrong. It's one of the two. I will look it up and I will put something in the comments, okay? I'll pin it in the comments so you can read up about it, but it's associated with this feminine principle and the intuition. There's some message there for you, so do be on the lookout for that. I will pin it after I get this posted. There's something about this, something about you getting in touch with this. And when I was talking about that, it was 8:08 on the clock. And this is really significant because 8:08 has been coming up a lot. So there might be some kind of Hawaii connection involved with this. Maybe you're planning on, going to Hawaii. Maybe you recently went to Hawaii. Maybe something kind of got stirred in you when you were there. Maybe there was something you got there that you feel it's like almost like talismanic if you went and traveled there, that acts as like a catalyst for heightening your intuition. Maybe you use it to scry. There's some piece of this coming in, but I feel like you're doing a lot with your intuition. You're experimenting. I think this is interesting for you because I think you're used to having a certain sense of control, all right? And this is coming in with this zombie energy. And with the zombie energy, I feel like a lot of this also has to do with, stuff that you've kind of always done the same way in regard to your spirituality. I think you kind of have sort of like set parameters for how you've explored your alchemist side, and I think you're starting to branch out. It feels kind of good to move into that more kind of feral, wild werewolf energy, right? The one who can howl at the moon, the one that doesn't need to have rules, the one that doesn't need to, you know, do anything in any kind of formulaic way, but can kind of just shake that all off and just get really instinctual with it. It was 10:10 on the clock when I said that. I think a lot of you are going to be exploring, you know, you're going to be exploring, you know, your spirituality. And those of you who are practitioners, you're really going to be experimenting with different paths. Some of you may be really drawn to hoodoo. Some of you may be drawn to things like necromancy. Some of you might be exploring kind of more left-hand path, or more kind of like shadow side of you know, spiritual workings. I think in that case, you know, there is this piece here that's coming in about control. Okay, so consider this piece very strongly. You might even wonder, I don't know where this is coming from, but maybe you think that there's somebody who did some like kind of like graveyard magic on you, some kind of control work, some kind of, you know, thwarting work, binding work, something to keep you stuck. I don't know. This is coming in pretty strongly. I want a clarification on that. Let's get a clarification on that. What can I use? Let's see. I want to get a clarification on that about, for those who have that question, that's not everybody's story, okay? But let's just see here if we can get anything on that. For those who feel like somebody may have done some kind of working on them, I'm like getting like graveyard dirt, you know, I don't know. I'm getting some stuff coming in with that, okay? There might be some of you who have experienced some level of that. So let's just see. Oh, I would say that's a confirmation. All right, we got the Tower. Okay, so there is somebody who's done some kind of thwarting work around you. For those that are having that hit, okay, and I would say for those of you where you don't know people who run in those circles, you may be looking at somebody who's kind of been like a thorn in your side. You know, maybe they've been you know, kind of picking your brain a lot, trying to figure out what's going on with you. And be careful, you know, if you're sharing parts of, personal parts of what's going on for you in your life with people where maybe the energy feels off, I would think about that twice before you do that. Yeah, you know, just leave them hanging, okay, with the hangman. If you have people coming around wanting to know too much. Here, let me see. What would be a good way to clear out this energy, this thwarting energy? What would be a good way to clear out this thwarting energy for Taurus? So they're not dealing with this feeling of being kind of like restricted, or, you know, I feel like you feel like some things are really flowing well in your life, and I feel like in other areas you feel like things are kind of stuck. Ooh, man, that came flying out. This could have to do with the King of Swords, okay? That would be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. It's interesting because that twins energy came in, and it was like the Gemini piece, Gemini full moon. And right after that, we have Six of Cups. Okay, so this would be like a soulmate energy, somebody that you'd been involved with before. This is a card often associated with the past. You know, it could even be somebody that you've known since childhood. But there's some kind of soul connection here. Maybe this is a person that you were involved with romantically. There was an ending in your relationship. You know, pick what side you're on. Either you did some working here, maybe you thought, you know, somebody needed to learn a lesson, or they did something on you. Pick what side you're on. But there's definitely a piece here. I'm still not getting the answer about, yeah, look at this. It was meant to like put you in this place of longing, you know, feeling rejected, feeling on the outside, feeling cut off, like cut off cold with the Queen of Swords energy again. It's Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius coming up here, all right? There's something here. I think that you'll be able to get beyond this. All right, I do see you looking out towards the future, and it looks like maybe you'll see this in your scrying. You know, you look out towards the future and you see yourself winning. You're going to overcome what was challenging you or holding you back. this is the truth, okay, with the Ace of Swords. Now with this Ace of Swords, I also suggest that you see where you might need to cut some cords, okay, where you might need to cut things off. So if you feel like, you know, you got other people's energy in your space, if you feel like you're corded into, then you might want to do some kind of cord cutting ritual. You might want to do some cleansing baths, some limpias. I bring in the cleansing formula, like the basic formula, all the time here on the channel. It's an Edgar Cayce remedy. It's 2 cups sea salt or Epsom salt to 2 cups baking soda. And from there, scry, okay? You might want to scry while you're in that tub, okay? Maybe that'll give you some clues about what's going on with this piece here. I have a feeling like you might already have a hint. I feel like you might already know, but I feel like there's something about this. And tune into your intuition as far as what else you should put in that bath. But definitely when you're looking at clearing something off, I would use something like bay leaf. Bay leaf is like a go-to for me. It's just so purifying. It's really purifying, but it also brings in blessing energy. So it's a nice one to work with. But there's many different protective, banishing kinds of herbs, you know, that you can use, that you can either brew as a tea. And Ted just said yes, he gave an affirmation, pour in the tub, and you can soak in there with that salt and that baking soda, and it just gets all the energy off of you. It's so good. And then as you drain the tub, you can just envision all that energy flowing away from you. Whatever was put on you, you know, returning to source, all right? Yeah, and I see this works. It gets things moving for you if you do this cleansing. It gets things moving really fast and in a positive way. Look at the butterflies in the background. Transformation, okay? Ooh, and I just got just a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. So maybe you might want to do something a little sweetening, add a little sweet to your bath, put a little honey in your bath to kind of sweeten things up too. Maybe some of that energy, you've internalized it too much, you know? Sometimes if somebody is, you know, directing real harsh energy your way, you can internalize it, and then it can make you kind of go cold in places, or, you know, hold negativity in places, or grief, you know, store up grief that it's not even yours to hold. It's something that you just energetically took on. And if you're somebody who's extremely sensitive, I definitely recommend that. I see you walking away from this, okay? And I think you're actually canceling a soul contract. That's what I feel with this 8 of Cups to this title card here. This is what I use as contracts. And in this piece, I really feel like it's a soul contract. For some of you, you're walking away from marriages, all right? Those of you that are married, you're like, I'm done. I'm ready to write a new story for myself. And I see this being a beautiful thing. Look what comes up right after that. Ace of Cups to the Lovers, all right? There's clearly some kind of choice you're making in this situation. You're choosing to let something go. And maybe, you know, for those of you, you know, there might be a few of you out there. I have to bring it in, and it's coming in. If some of you did any kind of like, maybe you were dealing with an aggressive ex-partner or something, and you did any kind of protection work, binding work, anything like this, you might now be in a space where you can like let that go. And maybe that's the cords that need to be cut, the ties that bind. And by doing this and relinquishing that control and letting it go, you're able to come to a place where you can have a new beginning and you align with who you're meant to be with. So that's an interesting message coming through there. Let me just see top of the deck energy here. Taurus, yes, this is aligned with spirit, and it brings about a spirit of togetherness too, and healing. And this is your card, the Hierophant. Okay, so definitely I'm getting like root work vibes big time. Okay, I'm getting root work vibes. This is coming in for somebody, so I wanted to address that piece. All right, very important to address that piece. But I see once you move this energy out, it looks really good. It creates a change, okay? But first, there's this need to do this like unraveling, all right? You know, we got this mummy energy here. So there's all this energy coming up in your read that it's about like the dead, the dead being front and center, what's dead and gone, what's done and dusted, or loved ones who've passed over. There's a lot of this energy that you're kind of confronting right now. You may even be confronting parts of yourself that have died off. Maybe you're looking at yourself where you are now in comparison to where you were just 6 months ago, and you're like, wow, I feel like I'm in a really different space emotionally. And maybe things you said back then, you're kind of regretting now. Like you wish you would have handled things a little differently, said things a little differently, I feel like it's okay, it's time for change. And that's a beautiful thing, to be able to change your mind and to look at things differently, but also to understand and respect, where it's like, where you do need to make things right, but you got to keep letting things flow. You have to keep going. You can't get stuck. Taurus can have a tendency, it is the bull, all right? They can lock horns, they can get stubborn, they can get intractable. You have two things coming up in your reading that, are really giving a strong message about what needs to happen here. And, on one side, you got the zombie, and it's all about control. And on the other side, you got the mummy. It's about change. But look at, I'm seeing this mummy. It's like the bandages, they look like ties that bind to me. So I feel like there's some big release that needs to happen here. And it's around the past. It's around letting go of control over what had to be released, and letting it be okay that it was released, and trusting that, being at peace with that. In some cases, you feel like there's somebody who won't let go of you, and it's making you feel like your way forward, is blocked. Like you're finding it difficult to extricate yourself out of the past because the past won't release you. So, again, it's like that same message, pick what side you're on. But I feel like this energy needs to be moved, and moved in a mindful way with a lot of consciousness. And if you do that, it brings about a lot of blessings into your life. We see you really celebrating your home life. I think you're going to have a very happy holiday season. You got a lot of family togetherness. Maybe you recently moved into a home, or there's been some kind of change within the home that's brought a lot of warmth into the home. And there's just this real 22:33 on the clock when I said that. Okay, that's really beautiful energy. A red master number, both master numbers. All right, so you're really in a place right now where this home that you're in, whatever's going on in your home, it's like the architecture of your future. Like your whole future is going to build off of this. And it's going to bring so many new, beautiful beginnings into your life. 23 on the clock. So I feel like these are blessed changes. But with that 23 energy and the double zeros, okay, 23 double zeros, that's lots of gifts with the zeros. But on top of that, the 23 breaks down to 5, which is about change, okay? And it's about the need to be adaptable. So if you find things getting bumpy for you, if you find yourself being challenged or things feel stuck at any point, stop for a moment and ask yourself, where are you trying to control things too much? Where are you fighting the flow? Where are you still having some kind of resistance, whether that's in your thinking, emotionally, or even in your physical body, like areas where you're holding tension? You'd be amazed, if you can't locate any stubbornness, within yourself, because sometimes we're too close to our own shit, but maybe you really feel like, oh gosh, my knee is really stiff. Then, get in there, work that knee, put some oil on it, some warm oil, and really work the tissues. Maybe do a little like gua sha around it. And you'd be amazed as you start to unlock your body. The emotions release too, the thoughts start to come forward, and you can start freeing yourself from the ties that bind. But I see you really being in a place of happiness at home with this hearth. You might be using the fireplace, using the wood stove, getting a nice fire going, feeling cozy, cuddling up in front of the fire. Some of you with a special someone. There's a lot of happiness here, a lot of coming together. And I feel like what you've gained in that sense of security, like you don't need to worry about it being taken away. We see here, you got the gargoyle guarding over you, okay? So it is protected. And you might want to do some special Yule rituals this year too, just different offerings, bundles of juniper and different blessings. You might want to throw some chestnuts in there, take part in some of the old folk in magic, just to call in the blessings for the new year. And you might bring the family together on this, but it says happiness in our hearts and homes. Okay, so this is beautiful. This is you just arriving at that place where you really feel like you belong and feeling held there, and there's so much warmth and there's so much beauty there, and it's really something to celebrate. And right with that, we have sweetness and synergy, Barmbrack. Okay, so it just doesn't get better than this. Okay, you may have gone through some difficult times, and you may have had to release some stuff that at one time was very difficult for you to let go of, but it's bringing you to a really sweet space in your life. Okay, so just trust your path, even when it's been bumpy. Trust your path. I feel like there is communication that you're waiting on. You're hoping to hear some news from a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. I think you've been wondering if you're going to hear from this person. You've been wondering, is there going to be any kind of forward motion in this situation? Are we going to be able to have a new ending to our story, or a new beginning, perhaps? There is some peace here. All right. I think you felt really in the dark about this person. I think you felt burdened. I think you wanted to see forward motion. Maybe you didn't see it quite the way you thought that you would. I feel like with this 10 of Wands in reverse, you're choosing to kind of like let this go, not stress about it anymore. I think oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, I think you recognize that, you wanted to hold out for the real thing, because this situation with this person, this might have been a romantic interest. It kind of puts you in Empress in reverse energy. Empress is the energy of both Libra and Taurus. Okay, so when you got it in reverse, it means that you're not really feeling yourself in the relationship. Like, you don't feel respected, you don't feel appreciated for who you are, seen for who you are. Maybe you had to do more of the nurturing. Maybe you were always trying to like keep the connection going, but it shows that it just threw you out of balance. This love connection threw you out of balance, and it wasn't like the true meeting of souls that you were hoping for, where it's like, no, we're on the same team. I think you let down that burden, and you're okay with that. Yeah, we see bottom of the deck energy, death to the devil. All right. It doesn't get clear to that. Like, you put an end to that. I think you recognize it was like a toxic cycle. And you also recognize, by just holding the mental space for it, the way that it was a form of mind control, like it was keeping you stuck in an old reality. So once you let go of even wondering what would happen with that, or if you would ever be able to have closure, or say those things you needed to say, whatever the situation may be, I think that's when you really started seeing things change in your life. You realized how much you held yourself up, just letting your energy stay tethered there. Okay, and this brought you everything you were looking for. We see 10 again. Okay, new cycle, new beginning, wheel of fortune. All right, so new beginning, bringing gifts. 10 of Pentacles. Okay, so this is you building with another. This is you having that stability, that happy home and hearth. All right, so big confirming message, very beautiful, double 10. So it's because you let this go that you're having those new beginnings. It's a really beautiful energy. All right, I think you just have a little bit to clear from you, but once you do this, you're just going to see things so smooth sailing moving forward with the Chariot here. All right, all systems go for you, man. All systems go. You're not going to be held back anymore. The thing you just need to be really aware of is be mindful of who you trust, okay? Because not everybody you give to wants to give back, all right? You do have somebody around you need to watch out for with this 7 of Swords, right? So be mindful of this. Might be connected to money, might be somebody trying to take more than is their share, all right? So as long as you keep mindful of this, then you'll be able to keep your way forward free of any obstruction. But you do want to be aware, because there's that Page of Swords. You've got somebody keeping their eye on you, all right? And they would come in with the Magician, right? So this may be the person that's been, trying to thwart your path. They might be keeping an eye on you on social media. They might want to block your blessings, all right, with this Three of Wands. So again, I really suggest do some clearing work, do some cleansing work, do some cord cutting work, whatever you need to do to lay that old energy to rest. And you're going to find nothing but smooth sailing and full steam ahead.